quote and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
The Early Line with Mario and Musso. Mario and Musso have your early line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And a good Monday afternoon. Welcome in, Matt Musso alongside Mario Jerez. We have your early line, Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp on the audio and video boards. Great Monday show here set for you. Of course, we'll get started with our daily spread here momentarily. I have some updated odds in the NFL after the news of Deshaun Watson's suspension handed down this morning. It'll be 6 games. What does that do to Super Bowl odds? What does that do to the the AFC North odds as well, and just in general? We finally have lines on Cleveland Browns games. So when we did Win Total Wednesday, Mario, for the AFC North, we didn't have that, so we couldn't really give a full breakdown of Cleveland. So we'll give you a thought on that as well. Another great day at Saints camp, so we'll go through the headlines out of that, whether it be Trevor Penning getting into it with Peyton Turner or Paulson Adebo just apparently being the greatest Saints cornerback ever.
Yeah, Trevor Penning taking his licks a little bit today at camp, it looked like. Looking forward to talking Saints later on in the show, Musso. Had a really good weekend despite the fact that my picks from Friday went 0 for 2. Thanks for nothing, Twins and Justin Verlander. So doing pretty well. Pumped for the show. How are you, man? How was vacation?
Too short.
Too short.
Great time, though.
I love whenever you tweet, whenever you go on vacation, you're like, if you need me today, don't.
Yep, don't.
That's one of my favorite Musso-isms.
It's another one. It's like you know where to find me, but don't come looking.
And that's
that'd just be rude.
Yes, and that's gonna be me on Friday because I'm gonna pay you back.
Well, hey, there you go, man. Hey, no payback. Go enjoy yourself. That's part of life. And it's a great part of life, as a matter of fact.
I will, Musso, because we are in August now, and we're about to get to the nitty-gritty, the start of the football season. So, like you, I need a little R&R before we get there.
August the 27th, college football starts. How about a little Hall of Fame game this week?
This week, man. 3 days away. I am so ready to bet on preseason games, man. You have no idea.
Well, you're right. I don't, because I am not ready to bet on preseason games. I might stick to baseball through that time period, and then when we get to the regular season in college and NFL, I will dive headfirst, cannonball into the deep end and onto football. But preseason, yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that one.
You're lost, my friend. You're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out on this wave that the Ravens have been on the last 4 years. But more on that later in the week.
All right. Well, we will get to that. Right now, let's start with our daily spread. It's presented by Suspense Games.
Daily.
Daily spread. What are Mario and Musso watching tonight?
I'm talking about big money. Real big money.
This is our daily spread.
Let's dive into Major League Baseball here. The New York Mets, they visit the Washington Nationals tonight, a 6:05 first pitch. The Mets heavy favorites. They are pretty darn hot right now. 6-game winning streak for New York. 5 of those 6 have come by more than 2 runs. You will see Max Scherzer for the Mets versus Patrick Corbin for the Nats. And Mad Max, man, he's been awesome in his return from the IL, firing at least 6 innings in each of his 5 starts and never allowing more than 2 earned runs. You look at this Mets lineup, we just talked about the winning streak. They're averaging 6 runs per game during said winning streak, and they will take their swings against Patrick Corbin, who has struggled all year, to put it nicely. And 3 starts against the New York Mets, they haven't been much kinder to him. It has not been the exception. 13 1/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 20 hits and 9 earned runs to this Mets lineup. In his last start, he managed to just get 2 outs and gave up 6 runs. We want to back the Mets, but we're not into laying 250. Not into laying that. So let's take the run line -1.5 at -145. And let's go Mets.
Sounds good. Looks like we're getting Tigers in the pros a little early today, Musso, because for my first play, I'm looking at a familiar name for a lot of the audience, and I'm looking at over 1.5 total bases for Alex Bregman tonight. Obviously, he is of the Astros, and they are facing Musso's Red Sox tonight, 7 p.m. first pitch from Minute Maid Park, and this is a good price, too, in my opinion, +120. And like most of our audience knows, it was an epic start to the career of Alex Bregman in the major leagues before injuries kind of took a toll the last couple of years. Between 2018 and 19, Bregman went twice to the All-Star game, finished in the top 5 of the AL MVP voting in both years, and he won a Silver Slugger Award. However, between 2020 and 2021, he only appeared in 133 out of 222 possible games. Now, this year, if you've been keeping up, he's been somewhat up and down, at least by his standards. Bregman so far hitting .242 with 13 home runs, but going back to our first play here, I feel good about his chances tonight, Musso, because apparently Bregman likes to face a projected Red Sox starting pitcher Nathan Eovaldi so far in his career, because in 16 plate appearances against Eovaldi, Bregman has 8 hits, including 4 for extra bases, and he's also drawn 2 walks against Nathan Eovaldi. So I know LSU Alex Bregman, 2019 Alex Bregman still in there somewhere. Hopefully we see him tonight, at least enough for 1.5 total bases against your Red Sox.
The Mariners, they visit the New York Yankees tonight. That is also a 6:05 Central first pitch. You have Marco Gonzalez for the M's, Domingo Germán for New York. Gonzalez, he's outperformed expectations, honestly, this season in Seattle, and you're starting to see signs of regression here in the second half. In 2 of his last 3 starts, 5 runs allowed in each of those. And look, Gonzalez, he's a contact pitcher. Fastball is going to be in the high 80s, low 90s. Contact pitcher in Yankee Stadium against that lineup, bad matchup. Expect some runs from the Bronx Bombers. Now, Domingo Germán hasn't been anything to write home about since returning from the IL himself. His ERA sits at 8.22, although his last start was his best since returning. This Mariners offense, they are on fire. The caveat, they will not have Julio Rodriguez tonight. The rookie sensation has landed on the IL after being hit by a pitch a couple of games ago. But facing Germán, there should still be plenty of opportunity. So we ride with over 9 runs in the Bronx tonight, -110.
All right, last play of the day from here. I'm looking at over 5.5 strikeouts for Andrew Heaney of the Dodgers tonight at -150 odds. Decent price there. He faces the Giants tonight, 8:45 first pitch from San Francisco. And looking at the Dodgers lefty here, he's missed a bunch of time this year, multiple stints on the IL. He's only made 4 starts this year. But when he's played, he's been really, really good. And Heaney enters this start with a 0.47 ERA and a 34.6% strikeout rate. And this Giants team on paper, just looking at the stats, looks like a pretty good matchup because San Fran has the 13th highest strikeout rate in the major leagues. And this could be one of the longer outings we've seen so far from Heaney since he's fully stretched out and whatnot. All that being said, give me over 5.5 strikeouts for Andrew Heaney of the Dodgers tonight.
I was fairly surprised that LA wasn't a bigger favorite in that game. I know it's on the road and whatnot, and as you mentioned, kind of the, Heaney working his way back a little bit there. But the Giants just aren't very good. And again, Logan Webb going for San Francisco tonight. I get that, but Logan Webb just hasn't been great this year. Like, he was incredible last year, one of the leading NL Cy Young candidates, has not followed that up well. The Giants, who I think many thought could make a little bit of noise in that division, they have not this year, and I was surprised that it wasn't more favorite on the side of the Dodgers, even though they are on the road.
Yeah, I know some Giants fans have been disappointed this season, but I will not be disappointed as long as we get over 5.5 strikeouts from Andrew Heaney.
6 Ks, all you need. 6 Ks is all you need. That is our daily spread here on Monday, August the 1st. It is brought to you by Suspense Games. Get out to Smiling Dog tonight for Pub Olympics. It's a video game trivia night. It'll be hosted by our guys over at Suspense. And look, if you can't make it out to a trivia night, great news. They can come to you, right? That's the whole antithesis of this. It's a traveling trivia game show tailored to what you want. Will come directly to you. You can upgrade your game night, upgrade a corporate team building activity, or maybe you just always wanted to be on a game show and this is your opportunity. Suspense Games, suspenseevents.com. That's where you go to register. That's where you go to book. That's where you go to find more information. make sure you tell them the guys at Early Line sent you as well. SuspenseEvents.com.
Had a great time last week at the Burgersmith on Old Perkins. Spencer does a great job hosting, and these games are a lot of fun. They have lights, they have podiums, they have confetti. It's just like you're on television. So whether you're looking for a really competitive game night, some unique team building, or you want to take your party to a whole new level, Suspense Games is ready to bring a live game show experience right to you wherever you are. So check out their website at suspenseevents.com and upgrade your game night tonight with Suspense Games.
We will grab our first break, come back on the other side, switch gears to NFL, update some odds around the National Football League. As, hey, preseason action, it gets underway this Thursday with the Hall of Fame game. That's next on Early Line, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Mario and Musso, the Early Line. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
This is Charles Hanniger. Join us for the next edition of Jimmy Odds Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Rouge Creole in Perkins Road. Jimmy Odds Game Time, 6 p.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
What's up, people? Welcome back to the show. The first early line in the month of August. I'm feeling pretty good, Musso. Not gonna lie, I love this month. It's definitely in my top 5 favorite months, I would say. I mean, like we said in the first segment, college football going to start this month. We're 26 days away from the first week 0 game, I believe. We have preseason games starting in the NFL that you can bet on. LSU starts camp this week, tomorrow, I believe. And high school football going to start kicking off really soon for those of you that are interested in that. So life is pretty good right now, man, I must say.
It's that time of year. I mean, that's what we were kind of, in the chat there a little bit at the end of the last segment in the break. It's, you're taking one last stop this weekend. I just got back from the final vacation. It is time for all that to wrap up because football season's here.
It is here, and some good news on the Cleveland Browns front for most Browns fans, I think. And just speaking from a football sense here with Deshaun Watson, that's mainly what I want to touch on. I'm sure everybody's kind of giving their take on the suspension and whether or not it's enough, but obviously this is big for the Browns on the football field, and now it's finally official. At least for now, Deshaun Watson is facing a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. This came down the recommendation from Sue L. Robinson, who was a third-party judge appointed by the NFL and the NFLPA. And we must point out that the ruling is not final because the NFL can appeal this. And Roger Goodell actually released a statement today saying that the league has yet to make a decision on an appeal and it must be filed within the next 3 days. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, this is huge for Cleveland. I know that they can fight this, and maybe just for optics' sake, they will. But just my personal opinion, I think ultimately this will stay 6 games. I could see the NFLPA fight like hell to maybe get it or the NFL could fight like hell to get this extension, longer to elongate it. But it probably would not be worth it in the end. It would probably just stay at 6 games. And all morals aside, I think the NFL ultimately wants their best players on the football field. So I think this is going to stay at 6 games for Deshaun Watson, which gives the Browns a great chance going into the season.
It does give the Browns a great chance. I mean, there was obviously talk about it being a year-long suspension or even longer than that. There was even talk about indefinite, right? But it'll be 6 games, and you look at what that does for the Browns' chances. I know you're kind of going to see Super Bowl odds continue to be updated, but I tell you already at FanDuel, it went from plus 3,500, 35 to 1 down to 22 to 1 for Cleveland just today, and that's with him missing the first 6 games. Now, when you look at what they kind of have quarterback-wise, having Jacoby Brissett as your backup, your primary backup who's going to assume that starting role the first 6 games, that is pretty much as good as you can ask for him. This is a guy with over 30 starts with 3 different teams in the league. And while it hasn't been, world beater numbers put up, or he hadn't, just been the guy to lead playoff teams to great success or things of that nature, he does know how to function in this league at a high enough level to win games. And that's ultimately what you want if you're Cleveland. If you look at their schedule this season, they're favored in their first 4 games. Yes, that means even they are a slight favorite against Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers.
The revenge game.
It's a pick 'em, basically. They're a 1-point favorite early, but you're favored against the Panthers on the road, the Jets at home, Pittsburgh at home, at Atlanta on the road. You win those 4 games, or at least go 3-1 with Jacoby Brissett. You're looking at just 2 more without Deshaun Watson. Can you split those 2 and go 4-2, or potentially 5-1 in that stretch? Can you, and even if you do lose those 2, you're at 3-3. So that's, I think, where you at least have to be, is 3-3 if you're the Browns. But you look at the win total for me, and that's at 9.5, and it mirrors their playoffs because they're a pick 'em to make the playoffs as well, either minus 110 both ways.
Even that is a little sketchy because I know that the Browns are going to have an upgrade from what they had last year a lot of the time, because healthy Jacoby Brissett, I think, is better than a beat-up Baker Mayfield, which is what you saw most of the time last year. And they do still have Josh Dobbs and Josh Rosen both on the roster. And for what it's worth, Kevin Stefanski, addressing the media this week, said that originally the plan was going to be Jacoby Brissett, but maybe things have changed since then. I ultimately think it will be Jacoby because of what you said. He's literally been here before. When Tom Brady got suspended for Deflategate, guess who the Patriots' backup was? It was Jacoby Brissett, and he led New England to a 3-1 record, I believe. So I do agree with what you're saying. I think that having him in place is big for those first couple of games, but from a betting standpoint, it is a little bit tricky, strictly when you're talking about win total being set at 9.5. That being said, on the back end, I could see the Browns get a huge lift from Deshaun Watson because this story has been going on a really long time. A lot of people have some valid, really passionate opinions from this whole saga, but we shouldn't forget how good Deshaun Watson has been since he's entered the NFL. Obviously a superstar coming out of college, took down Bama in the championship game in his second to last year at Clemson, or in his final year, and he came into the league 2017, started for the Texans from 17 to 20, got injured his rookie year, but still did enough to win AP Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2017. Then he leads Houston to division titles in both 2018 and 2019, aka the only 2 full seasons that Deshaun Watson has been healthy. And then in 2020, the Texans were really bad, but he still led the NFL in passing yards. So he's been really good in the NFL, and he's joining a really good Cleveland Browns roster. I love the 1-2 punch that they have at running back with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And Dearness Johnson isn't too shabby either. He had some pretty good fantasy weeks last season. But I also like the addition of Amari Cooper at wide receiver, and David Bell, the rookie from Purdue. I know he's dealing with some injuries coming into the NFL, but I'm a lot higher on him than a lot of other people. And again, the first couple of games could get really tricky. 3-3 would be the goal, but some things can go wrong. Maybe they go like 2-4, and that's too big of a hole for Deshaun Watson to dig them out of. But I don't think we should forget how just good Deshaun Watson, the football player, is. And when you couple that with this Cleveland Browns roster, maybe it won't be enough for them to hit 9.5 wins this season. I still think Cleveland is the third best team in this division, but obviously going forward on the football field, you have a lot to be excited about with Deshaun Watson.
I mean, you said it. The early part of that schedule is going to be key for them when he's out, if they're going to hit the total, because it's backloaded for Cleveland. I mean, the first game he would potentially be eligible to return would be at Baltimore. They're an underdog in that game right now. The week after that is the Cincinnati Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl last year. Oddly enough, Cleveland slight favorite in that game at home earlier. And then, I mean, throughout the rest of November, you have games at Buffalo versus Tampa Bay, another game that they are surprisingly a favorite in right now at home, slight. You have the second matchup with both Baltimore and Cincinnati, the Saints as well on the schedule on Christmas Eve. So it's definitely backloaded, 9.5. I could see that potentially, but they'd have to split those division games. They have to get their great start with Brissett, and they have to split those divisional games with Baltimore and Cincinnati, especially if they're going to end up getting there, because I don't see them going on the road to Buffalo and winning a game there, right? I don't really see them winning that game at home against Tampa Bay. I'll be honest. I think Tampa Bay is better than them, just top to bottom, and Tom Brady's better than Deshaun Watson overall. He was the greatest quarterback to ever play. Is Deshaun maybe ahead of him now just because he's younger? Well, you'd say maybe, but Tom's it doesn't look. Tom Brady just looks like he keeps getting better with age. So I mean that's a really tough one there. The game at home against New Orleans is not going to be a picnic either. So I mean, you got to get off to the good start behind Jacoby Brissett, and if you think they can do that, then I think you could actually trend over here. But I think Vegas actually has it nailed. Yeah. I think they're probably a 9-8 club
at best. And the Saints had to win that game to atone for losing to Brian Hoyer in 2014. That was really embarrassing, so that would make up for a little bit there. But I'm with you. And week to week, we'll see how the Browns look. We'll see how healthy Deshaun Watson is. He didn't play football all last year. That's a factor to me. I know Deshaun Watson's really good, but it might take him a couple of games to get acclimated, at least to Deshaun Watson form. And again, week to week, we'll see how the Browns look. But just in terms of future, I'm honestly still staying away from them, I think, man. And this was, I think, the best outcome for the Browns. Again, on the field, only missing Deshaun Watson for 6 games. But there are still some questions about this team. And honestly, I know you and Taylor disagree with me, but I still think Deshaun Watson is the third best quarterback in the division, and the Browns ultimately the third best team in the division. So futures-wise, I think I'm still staying away from Cleveland. So,
okay, well, that's what I was going to ask you. So if you're kind of with me here on the the nine wins, right?
Yes. Best case scenario, 9 wins. If it was 8.5, it would be a different story.
So where do you think that puts them with the playoffs? Because looking at their odds to make the playoffs right now, it's a pick 'em. Like it is -110 both ways, yes or no?
Yeah, they still got a shot, but ultimately I would say no. You would need a scenario where there's 3 teams potentially in that division making the playoffs, which is a lot more plausible now with the 7 teams. But if I had to lean yes or no, I would go no, both when it comes to the division futures and Cleveland making the playoffs, because it's going to be a battle for those last few wild card spots.
I'm trying to find my odds again. Hold on, because I wanted to see exactly how many teams are in front of them right now. So 5. There's 5 teams right now that are in front of them playoff odds wise. So their pick 'em at -110 would have them as the 7th best odds, which, I mean, Vegas at least thinks they're the first team in line to potentially be on the fringe, and they feel they would obviously be in. I mean, after that, you have the I'm sorry. I got confused there. They would be 9th. So Vegas is not as high on them as I previously thought, just looking through this.
No, Taylor, I do not think Mitch Trubisky is better than Lamar Jackson, as Taylor is texting my phone. But
you said, though, that he was the 3rd best quarterback in the division. I mean, Mitch Trubisky's got to be better than him, right?
No.
These odds are old. I want the latest odds. I had them earlier, and I can't find them now, and that was really bothering me.
It's all good. While you do look for them, I will tell you that this Browns offense, like I said, has a lot of potential, man. David Bell is a rookie coming out of Purdue, is somebody that was a beast in college, like I was saying a little while ago. And then David Njoku, do you remember how dominant he was for like a couple of weeks a few years ago? Like, we've seen flashes from him. I'm curious to see what Deshaun Watson can bring out of him, both in terms of a fantasy standpoint and in reality when we're talking about football.
I mean, for sure. Here we go. Now we got it.
Hey.
But it's just not set up the way I want it to be set up.
Man, we did such a good job stalling, too.
I know. Well, I can't find the exact link that I was on that had, because it was from July 31st. Like, it was from yesterday. It was the first time they had these odds, and I can't. I also can't remember exactly what I typed in to find them. But either way, they're right there on the fringe at the -110. Okay, so you're right. It'd have to be 3 teams from that division make it, but that's a really good division when you look through the AFC. I mean, I would argue that's the 2nd best division in the AFC outside of the West.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe the Steelers a little overrated going into the season, just from my point of view, but I could see how you get that.
They are, but I mean, don't we also kind of believe the Broncos are a little overrated when you talk about the AFC West? So,
Could be.
I mean, I think obviously Denver's better than Pittsburgh, just from quarterback standpoint alone. But, I mean, could there be 3 AFC West teams? Like, would that shock you if the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders all made it? No, it wouldn't. Would it really shock you if Browns, Bengals, and Ravens both made it? Or is it possible that Cincinnati takes a bit of a step back this year? I mean, nobody thought what was going to happen to Baltimore happened, but you had a lot of injuries hit the Ravens. I mean, that kind of thing can happen. So seeing them at -110 and it matching up so perfectly with that 9.5 win total, they feel very much a fringe playoff team, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they were able to get in at 9-8 or even at 10-7, just depending on what else happens around the AFC. It's a very wide open conference, but I think the pick 'em to make the playoffs, for me, is more intriguing than the Browns win total. And at -110, you're not going to get much better odds than that unless you pick somebody who's plus money. So, I mean, I wouldn't hate taking a flyer on them to make it, especially just missing Watson for 6 games and having somebody like Jacoby Brissett, who's been through this situation, take you through a very easy first portion of your schedule.
That is the play, but I just think 10 on the win total is a little too high. I would be surprised if they do go 10-7, even with Deshaun Watson now being in the fold for all of except 6 games. That being said, the playoffs, that is a little bit more of a question. The 7 teams make it interesting, man. Now that I'm thinking about it, especially from a betting standpoint, you have so many more possibilities.
You do. That you do.
We'll see what happens with the Cleveland Browns in 2022. What we do know is they will be without Deshaun Watson for just the first 6 games. that means they'll have their starting quarterback for over 65% of the season. And a lot of people in Cleveland feeling pretty good about that, just talking in terms of the Browns' chances on the field. So we'll see what occurs there. We'll stick to the NFL on the other side of this break, talk a little bit of Saints as the black and gold wrapped up day 5 of training camp today. We'll give our take on that and all the observations on the other side. This is the Early Line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Up on Tuesdays, OTB. First padded practice is in the books, and Nick Underhill will give you all the insight you need on Saints Camp. Plus, one day closer to LSU football camp opening up off the bench. 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're getting the early line with Mario and Musso on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on the early line, update some notes from Saints camp today. But first, a little bit of LSU baseball breaking news. Carter Young, of course, incoming LSU transfer, is no longer Carter Young, incoming LSU transfer. He is now Carter Young, shortstop in the Baltimore Orioles organization. Got $1.3 million in the 17th round. That's why it's always interesting to watch the slot values and where guys sign for under slot. You don't normally see $1.3 million still available in the 17th round, but the Orioles were able to make it work. $1.2 million counts against their pool. So they signed plenty of guys under slot to be able to do that. LSU on the infield, you'll look at a guy like Jordan Thompson, Gavin Guidry to come in early and maybe steal that job at shortstop, but there's much more pressure now on those two guys to take that role. I know that obviously there's been talk about Gavin Dugas moving to the infield. You have Tommy White. You have Trey Morgan. You have numbers there to at least figure it out. Depth maybe could be a little start to get a little interesting, as you did see a lot of infielders leave for the transfer portal, and Pineda ends up get drafted and signing. Young gets drafted and signing, but still have time to go ahead and find something there potentially in the transfer portal late here of somebody who maybe entered before the 1st of July who would be eligible. And it wouldn't surprise me, I think, maybe if LSU does do that just to build some depth there on the infield. But you have really good frontline guys definitely to take that role.
Yeah, LSU will still be okay. That being said, it is unfortunate, but I mean, 1.325 million reasons to join the Orioles, so not super surprising.
No, and look, Carter Young will figure out the offense. That's what he was here at LSU to do, and he'll just do that in minor league baseball now, and I think that's a Major League Baseball player. I really do. I mean, I think you'll see him in the show at some point, whether it's for the Orioles or not. I mean, that's a guy who has the potential to be a major double-digit home run guy at the next level, switch hitter, and is a really, really good infielder. So it's a tough loss for LSU, but you do have really good frontline guys on the infield. You might need to build some depth back up, though, a little bit there in the portal potentially before the season starts.
And you still got Christian Little, so you at least kept a transfer from Vanderbilt.
You kept a transfer from Vanderbilt. All right. By the way, today is the deadline for teams to sign their draft picks. So that's coming up here as we wind down the day. Maybe you see, I think the rest of LSU's class really should stay intact. I mean, Jaden Newt, it was some guy that everybody was watching. Jaden Newt, we kind of all missed this. Before the draft, put it on Instagram, ready for the next 4, and was just very quiet throughout the rest of the process. So maybe somebody, it was the Brewers that took him. Maybe they have some money left over, but if he's doing that before the draft, that's normally a pretty good indication. And then if he even gets drafted in the 19th round like he did, that's a pretty good indication. So wait for the deadline to officially pass, but that one looks pretty solid there as well.
Yeah, social media could be telling, but freezing cold takes is also a thing for a reason.
That is very true. That is very, very true. So keep an eye on that as the deadline looms a little bit later on this evening. The New Orleans Saints are back on the practice field today. First day in full pads, as evidenced by Trevor Penning and Peyton Turner taking some swipes at each other on the practice field.
Love to see it.
Ultimately, man, you heard a lot of guys out there talking about it being good to get back to the physicality. DeMario Davis was one of those guys after practice. Dennis Allen himself even said that. You see more. You obviously, it's the type of football you're going to play, right? You're not going to be out there in shells doing 7-on-7 come Sundays. So it's always a great indication of where your team is. Just you can get it from that first day of pads. The Saints were doing that, and all indications is that Paulson Adebo is poised for a really good second year.
Yeah, I guess we should start there. I mean, when we have been talking about the Saints the last couple of seasons, we always mentioned Marshawn Lattimore as being an elite cornerback. And going into his second season, maybe we're not too far away from saying that about Paulson Adebo and talking about an elite tandem down there in New Orleans. And coming out, the Saints got him as a third-round pick from Stanford. Supposedly he was a first-round talent, but COVID, injuries, other things occurred and just forced him to fall. But I think now through one season and through a little bit of 2 training camps, you're seeing that elite potential from Paulson Adebo. And when you pair that with everything else you have in this secondary, that is a really exciting thought. And I wasn't joking a second ago when I said that you love to see it, the little skirmish or the skirmishes that we saw with Peyton Turner and with Trevor Penning at practice today, because apparently Trevor Penning did have some good moments. Some people that were at camp, including Danny, video producer from OTB, was saying that Trevor Penning looked really imposing out there. And there were some reps where he was clamping down Granderson and others along the Saints defensive line. But he definitely took his licks today, and Peyton Turner got him a couple of times. And after one of those times, looks like he got a little frustrated, the rookie Penning did, and even took a swing on Peyton Turner. But these are very valuable reps. And like I said on the show last week, Moose, so I think Trevor Penning will take his licks in the games a little bit too, but it's necessary. And once he acclimates himself to the NFL level, hopefully late in his rookie year and going into his second season, you will see the first-round talent that the Saints saw. So all these kinks, it's good that they get worked out during training camp. And I, for one, like to see the intensity and the skirmishes after those reps.
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure. Look, my opinion on Trevor Penning isn't going to change. I mean, the guy was a first-round draft pick. He's going to get every opportunity to be the starter at left tackle from day one. Now, can he seize that opportunity and take advantage of it? That's up to him. He's had great moments. He's had some tough moments, but it's just not – the guy was drafted in the first round. He's the future at left tackle for New Orleans, and he's going to get every opportunity for that future to come very soon, to come week 1, September 11th, when you face the Atlanta Falcons. So we'll see how that goes. It's nothing against James Hurst. James Hurst is a very nice option for you there as well, but they obviously really enjoy what they see from Peyton Turner. From Trevor Penning. Adam Troutman is somebody else who's made some headlines early in camp, and I think that's a good sign, because last year the narrative around Troutman was ready or not, here it comes, right? That's it. You're the tight end, and whether you're ready for that opportunity or not, we're going to find out in camp. And all throughout camp, early and right up until week 1, Sean Payton kind of said that whenever he spoke to the media, that it was like, you know what? He has a little bit of growing to do, but time to do the growing. And you're not really hearing that same narrative around him this year. It's much more positive around Adam Troutman, which is massive for the Saints offense, because the tight end has always been a huge part of the New Orleans Saints offense. And for him to be able to take that next step, bring another weapon, another potential target for Jameis Winston, is nothing but a positive.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the tight end room for New Orleans is unproven, but there is some interesting potential there. With Adam Troutman coming back for a third season, the stats aren't really good for Troutman, but if you were watching the Saints, you could tell before he suffered that injury last season, he was on a little bit of a roll, and he had over 50 receiving yards in that game when he went out. But obviously, they have converted Taysom Hill to tight end. We're going to see him catch some passes this season. And Juwan Johnson is a guy who last year only had 159 yards on 13 catches. Before those catches were for touchdowns, and he's averaging 12.2 yards per reception right now. I think Juwan Johnson could be a weapon in the red zone. Ultimately, could be an interesting fantasy football player. More on that down the road, but the tight end room is interesting for the New Orleans Saints, and I don't think it's exclusive to Adam Troutman's success this season. You definitely want to see a jump from Adam Troutman, but they do have some interesting names there, and ultimately, they could have a little bit more depth at tight end than Saints fans think, at least on the surface.
I mean, look, that would be ideal. I mean, because that is just a massive part of what the Saints want to do offensively, and many expect the Saints offense to look pretty much the same with Pete Carmichael calling plays this year, even sans Sean Payton. Paulson Adebo, quick thought there, though, because the second-year corner who just kept getting better and better and better through camp last year, bursts onto the scene week 1, has a really good rookie year, has been the talk of training camp. Sure, you've heard a little bit about Trevor Penning. You've heard about Adam Troutman, like we said. You've heard, Jameis and Chris Olave and Mike Thomas and things of that nature, but you have not had a practice yet where it just hasn't been, man, did you see what Paulson Adebo did today? And they were saying today was his best day so far out there.
And that's saying something, because Saints reporters have been tweeting a lot about Paulson Adebo. We had John Hendricks on the show one of the days that you were out, and he was ranting and raving about him. And I'm sure we're going to talk more about Paulson Adebo in the days and the weeks to come leading up to the Saints season. But ultimately, it makes me really intrigued to see what Alontae Taylor can do, because the Saints, ever since the disaster that was taking Stanley Jean-Baptiste, they've drafted really well at cornerback. You saw what Marshawn Lattimore has become. Paulson Adebo has potential, at least through 1 year and one training camp, to be maybe just as good, if not close to as good. Alontae Taylor, second-round pick out of Tennessee, that was a really good college football player. If you saw Tennessee's games last year, you know that their defense as a whole left a lot to be desired, but Alontae Taylor was big time. He had a pick six in the big win against Kentucky for the Volunteers. So down the road, he might get a little bit more playing time. You know, he'll be a depth piece, obviously, if something happens to one of the first two corners, but given the way the Saints have drafted at that position in the last 5 years, I'm really excited to see what Alontae Taylor can do whenever he does finally get on the field.
So we always think the Saints, and apparently Alontae Taylor had a really nice pass breakup against Chris Olave today down the field as well.
A rookie-on-rookie crime. Love to see it.
Love to see it. We all think the New Orleans Saints have a playoff roster right now. Vegas, a little bit more on the fence. New Orleans plus 125 to make the playoffs in the latest odds updated yesterday evening. That would have the Saints at about the 8 to 10 range. They have the 8th best odds, but there's a couple teams tied, for certain amounts of odds. So they fall more in that 8 to 10 range, kind of like the Cleveland Browns who we were talking about last segment. But definitely a playoff roster in that class where if they did it, I don't think it would really surprise anybody.
No, and this is a team that obviously has performed really well against their division, including the team that's the betting favorite this season. I don't think I have to remind the audience, 4-0 against Tom Brady in the regular season. But when it comes to betting on the Saints, I'll tell people to not overthink the futures market because I feel really good at least about their win total and them being able to get to at least 10 wins because like you said, you are changing head coaches, and that's a concern. Dennis Allen definitely has some questions to address just in terms of being the week-to-week head coach of the New Orleans Saints. But this is a very similar roster from last year. You can argue, I think, that the defense has gotten even better, and if they just have reasonable health, especially at the wide receiver position, it would be hard to picture the Saints not winning at least 10 games this season. I would just not overthink it. Look at the roster. Jameis Winston, a full season doing what he was doing before he got hurt, I think is going to lead to a lot of wins. So I don't know about winning the division, but I do feel really good about the Saints getting to at least 10 wins this season.
Saints to make the playoffs plus 125.
And that.
Hammer.
Yes.
Hammer. Grab a break, come back, close out a Monday edition of Early Line. It's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Early Line. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out neworleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We'll get you a Saints camp report from the weekend, and finally, it is camp week for the Tigers. We'll preview it. Join us Monday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up the show here on the Early Line, a Monday edition, talking a little NFL. Very NFL heavy on the show today. Makes sense with the Saints in the middle of training camp and the Deshaun Watson news finally being settled. We'll talk a little bit more college football tomorrow with the start of training camp for the LSU Tigers. But for now, to wrap up the show, our Citizens Bank poll today has to do with the NFL, and the question posed to the audience was, which second-year NFL quarterback will have a better year this year? Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars or Zach Wilson for the New York Jets? The audience has spoken, and they think Trevor Lawrence will have a better season than Zach Wilson. At least 51.6% of the audience does. 48.4% of the audience says it will be Zach Wilson. Their stats, Musso, somewhat similar, both kind of underwhelming, at least statistically, as rookies. Zach Wilson, 9 touchdowns, 11 picks, a quarterback rating of 28.2. Meanwhile, our man T-Law had a quarterback rating of 33.5 as a rookie, 12 touchdowns, 17 picks. I could see both of these guys have a bounce-back year. Honestly, I don't think either of their teams will be in the playoffs, but I could see them both make serious progress as sophomores in the NFL.
I think I actually might go Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
I think I'd take Trevor Lawrence.
Because Urban Meyer's not there no more?
That's going to be big. I'm curious to see how it goes with Doug Peterson. I just like their talent maybe a little bit more as well than the Jets. I mean, the Jets do have an underrated receiver group, but I have a little bit more faith as well, just eye test wise in Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson.
And I like Trevor too. Just like you said, based on the eye test, if you watch the Jaguars, he does some things really well. He's a very mobile quarterback, and I think he had so much success so early on in college that it made him kind of look worse as the seasons went, and Clemson didn't have as much success winning games and winning championships. But he was thrown into a horrible situation last year, and he will have better offense this year, more weapons around him with the additions that they made over the offseason, like going out and getting Zay Jones. And I think the Jaguars will be better. I think Trevor Lawrence individually will be a lot better next season. So that will be interesting to see. A quick note here on the NFL, a little bit of news. Deebo Samuel got paid by the San Francisco 49ers. He agrees to a 3-year extension worth $73.5 million. And this is one of the best skill players in the NFL. It'll be interesting to see what they can do sans Jimmy Garoppolo.
It will be. I mean, look, Trey Lance, big guy. It's your time. Go for it.
Yes.
They got your best weapon locked up now. Go after it.
Exactly. Not even Musso's words. Kyle Shanahan kind of alluded to the same thing early on this offseason. But Deebo Samuel in place for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's big for the Niners over there. Just 30 seconds left in the show. Really quickly, I know everybody in their mom's radio show is talking about this today, but wanted to shout out Bill Russell. passed away over the weekend on Sunday to be exact, and this is one of the best players in all of team sports in history, Musso. First black coach in the history of the NBA as a coach, as a player, 5-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, and 11 rings for Bill Russell. R.I.P.
2 more as a coach. Just very influential off the court as well.
Yes, shout out to Bill Russell. Legendary career, legendary man, passed away over the weekend. That will do it for the show today. AFR coming up next, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All Star Toyota, you